Okay, here's my review and comparison of the new Studio Series 86 Arcee and comparing it with the previous versions, the War for Cybertron Arcee and the Takata Legends Arcee, which technically this is what I consider the chug. So that's why this resembles the character, but it's not quite cartoon accurate. So to start off with, here's a look at the box of the new Studio Series 86 Arcee. So here's the front of the box with the really nice artwork, and the back of the box with some product detail images, so you can see some of the details. And the side of the box with a nice artwork. And the other side with the close-up of the artwork. Look at that nice head drawing. And the top of the box and the bottom of the box. So here's all three of them, and let me try to adjust this a little bit. And let's first start off with the first one, which is basically the chug version. So you can see how the colors are made to look like the cartoon. Well, first of all, this is by Takata, because if you remember, the Hasbro version had all this black and it was just not cartoon accurate, the Hasbro version. And this was before that Hasbro and Takata joint, whatever you call it, where Takata was still taking pride in their products and, you know, making them more cartoon accurate with all this detail that Hasbro is not willing to do. But this is the original Takata Legends version of Arcee, which is basically a chug. Like I said, made to look like, resemble the character, but you know, still having their own design. And just looking at it, I mean, I never liked those really thick, wide hip thighs. It just threw it off. But and then the vehicle mode, yeah, it wasn't quite cartoon accurate. The back of the vehicle, you know, still had white from the legs, which Toy World kind of did the same funky design. They didn't even give you a parts for me to cover it up. Okay, next there was the War for Cybertron. And I just realized this now, why some of the details were off, such as the pink feet and no gray ankles. Because you remember, this is not Studio Series 86. This is not G1. This is War for Cybertron. So this should look different. And it does. So I just realized that now. So that's an important thing to take note of, that this is War for Cybertron, not Studio Series 86. And, you know, just some weird things like the transparent gun instead of gray gun, and this parts forming with this transparent spoiler, which is kind of like some weird skateboard, hoverboard thing. Yeah, but you know, when it came out, it was kind of cool. And I just want to point out what I forgot with the Takata Legends. Came with other accessories too. I mean, I'm not sure what this pink gun is, and I'm sure Arcee with swords is from some other iteration. I'm not sure. And again, before the Hasbro Takata joint version, look at that. Takata was still doing nice comic book stuff. I mean, just look at this. This is just really so cool. Actually, yeah. So they give you a nice comic. Really cool. I mean, you don't get that with the Hasbro version. And then the instructions with all the accessories. So just emphasizing my point that Takata, before that joint thing with Hasbro, where the products are now the same, Takata was making better products than Hasbro of the same figure. So now moving on, this is the current version. This now looks like the G1 Arcee, because this is Studio Series 86. So it's meant to look that way. So you can see it has the gray hips, the gray ankles, but you know, after carefully looking at this, you know, they didn't complete everything. I mean, the rest of this should be painted gray, and it's not. Same thing with these ankles. But if Takata was still doing their own, you know, Takata would have painted that gray. But this is what you get, and you know, looking over it, I mean, just looking at that head, it's a very nice sculpt. I don't know if this really was meant to replicate Princess Leia, but sure does. And this face, look at that, is really such a pretty face. The eyes and the lipstick. I mean, you just compare it with the War for Cybertron. I mean, what is that? That's, look at, there's a big difference. I mean, you see it right away. Okay, and then they didn't go all the way. I mean, look at, they didn't even paint the hips red like it should be. So as really nice as this is, it's not perfect. I mean, look at the biceps, they're pink, so it's really cartoon accurate. There's a lot of great things about this, and there's some not so, some imperfections with it. But this is where we get, and she has this handgun. So now I'll just start going over some things. So getting a good look at her handgun. Very cartoon accurate. So no complaints with that. I already went over the head. So now the articulation, you know, with the ball joint, you get on the shoulders, you get the articulation. Mushroom peg, so it you get the swivel, the pins, so you get the joint. I mean, this is really well sculpted. And I want to point out, look at how her hands are holding. I mean, I think they should have just, you know, that's because it's meant to hold the gun, but they should have just made it kind of like Scourge, where just one hand was open to hold the gun and the other was closed, because this just kind of looks funny to me like that. But anyways, then she does have a little bit of waist articulation. She does have ab crunch, legs spread out to the side, up and down. There is a swivel here, knee, and then ankle rockers, but this is strictly for transformation. And just pointing out these little things sticking out here. That's actually part of these transformation. They're actually pegs that tab in. So now, just pointing out some other things. I mean, compared to the masterpiece, look at that. I mean, you see her upper waist, that white area, which the Takata version's covering, and I mean, just the chest is more proportionate than the Takata masterpiece. So my point to that is I can see why some people are stopping their masterpiece collection and going back to mainline, because some of the mainline figures like this is actually really nice. I mean, just look at all the sculpt. When I see that, I mean, that's really bothers me. And I'm not sure why they put some peg holes there, because you don't get any accessories to put anything in there, but it's really distracting. But like I said, there's a lot of good things and bad things about this. So the other thing is this backpack, this junk in the trunk that people are complaining about. But, you know, I think someone already pointed out that if you want, you can bend her forward and then take it out, which I'm going to do. So you can see where it goes in. And what does that do? That does make this look much better. So let me see if I can just get this back to robot mode. And you can see now she does look much better without all that junk in the trunk. So you can kind of treat this as parts forming if you want. But this is really nice. And I'm not sure why mine's is always kind of tipping that way. I might have to fix that with the blow dryer or something. But that's it. So now I want to do transformation after already transforming it, so I know now how it transforms. So first of all, let's put this back so I can transform it appropriately. There, you hear the snap? Okay. So now to transform this to vehicle, you want to just lift her up and lift this part up so you get access to the back of the vehicle. So you flip these open, and then from here you got to open these things, but there is some stretching over this plastic that you have to do. So I mean, and then you can kind of see you have to flip this around to start forming the shell of the car. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, and then let's see, you got to get this well, yeah, that's why it's not, because it's blocked here. You got to open this back, and then you can now bring it up, and then just start tabbing these parts in, making this look a little bit more complicated than what it is. Those are not very good tabs. They don't tab in very well. Okay, so then some parts already got transformed, so like this head, you want to lift it up, bring it down, and then form the front, the vehicle. So snap it into place, and that's really cool. This front chest is actually in front of the car, just like the cartoon. So since her arms are already up, just finish it, just tuck it in there in that little gap, because that's part of how it transforms. And like I said, it's a problem, these don't tab in very well. And then this, you got to turn this around and just take notice that there's a cutout here. So the legs are meant to fold back like that. And then just pointing out things to notice. See that gap there? And you see that little tab there. So those are supposed to go in to hear it. And now it's adjusting these legs, which you have to rotate them and adjust the feet like this. So rotate the leg, bring it down, and actually, yeah, adjust the feet. Because like I said, those things sticking out, those are actually tabs that actually go in to that little hole right there. So now you just kind of start slowly putting it in there, which you got to make sure everything gets lined up correctly. If you can see, I'm trying to make it so you can see. And then once you get it in there, you just put everything together. And like I said, this tab keeps getting undone. So it's probably best just to do it after you finish the transformation. So just push everything in, make sure everything's done, and there you go. There's the transformation to vehicle mode. So this is really nice. It doesn't show up very well, but this is almost like a purplish transparent window when it should actually be blue. So there's another issue of imperfection with this. But this is really nice. The gray doors, the pink rear, and it does roll and it does spin around. So this is really cool. This is, if you ask me, I highly recommend getting this. I would even get two, which I do, because one of them, my second one, is on pre-order from Amazon. I don't know why Amazon gave me this one early, my first order early, but that's cool. It's nice to have. So that's it. There's a transformation, and I think I'll just transform this back to robot mode. So bring these legs down and then adjust them appropriately. Bring these feet up. Okay, and then you got to rotate the hips. Or actually, I rotated the legs the wrong way, but like I said, you just adjust them appropriately. And then let's see, got to take these hands out. Let me just adjust the camera here. Get these arms out of that little pocket in there. And then let's see, Well, that kind of came untabbed. And let's see, push this in, this white part, just push it in so you can start rotating this around. And then here I was telling you, you got to stretch plastic over plastic here. But because of the plastic that's used, it's kind of like it's not a hard plastic. You can get away with it. But when X-Transbots does this with the hard plastic, you know, when you're having to stretch things, bend it over, that's why those parts break. It's hard plastic, having to bend and stretch over pieces. Okay, and then let's see. Let's bring these arms down. Then this front, just untab the chest, bring it down, and then, oh, I forgot a step. Or actually 2 steps. Got to close the rear and then fold this in. That gives you the clearance to bring this down. You can see that hook there, so you start adjusting everything, push your head back, and then on this double joint, just bring it back, and there you go. And gotta give her her weapon, and back to robot mode. And actually, I think I'm gonna do this. Bring it, I'm gonna make this parts forming, because she does look better without that. And now adjust everything again, and there you go. This is really nice. Really, really like this. Well, so that's the new Studio Series 86 Arcee and the comparison with the other 2 previous versions.